I welcome you again to the sessions, my sessions on entrepreneurship. It is part of the series on creating sustainable wealth and becoming a millionaire. We have looked at the various sources of finding money to save and invest. We have looked at financial channels, and we are now on entrepreneurship. I started by stating the case for entrepreneurship and why you can be one of them. My last session looked about the reality of Ghana in the recent past during the economic crisis. My topic for today is that there is hope for real entrepreneurs. There is hope for real entrepreneurs in Ghana, and therefore you must aspire to be one of them. And then I will look at how you can rekindle or kindle, if you are a new JJC, a new one in the block, your entrepreneurial spirit. So we look at kindling the business spirit in you. And hopefully, we will end with how to overcome traditional obstacles for you to start your business and why it is imperative that you encourage yourselves to start now. The hope for entrepreneurs. Let me tell you, the possibility, the availability, and the rewards of entrepreneurship in Ghana today has never been better. There's therefore much hope for those who will venture out. As a nation, we need our entrepreneurs for sustainable national development. The only answer to our unemployment, our poverty, and our vicious cycle of poverty is, in the long run, creating viable business, not in their tens, not in their hundreds, not in their thousands, but even in their millions. As I said in my earlier one, all the rich people of the future will be business people. Gone are the days where the landed people, the academicians and others, nobles were the ones who rode on horses and others walked. Today, all the rich people, whether it is Microsoft, whether it is Elon Musk, or whether it is Buffett, these are business people. None of the kings and the presidents, unless they are thieves, come near them. Of course, the Middle East oil sheikhs are in a class of their own. They still remain the old kingship and kingdoms of old. The richest people in the 21st century are and will be business people, not politicians, even intellectuals, but business people who turn ideas into enterprises despite political and bureaucratic bottlenecks that in our countries they have to fold. The importance of entrepreneurship lies in the fact that the wealth of individuals, families, and nations depend on it. I think that entrepreneurship is the only way to solve Ghana's low growth, import dependence, future haircuts, and solving our unemployment dilemma. To some, it sounds premature having come out of such a sordid period, to be talking about entrepreneurship. But let me tell you, to some, while it may be a question of survival, for companies and for our national future, we need our businesses. The good news is that every crisis creates its own business opportunities. For example, when imports are restricted, you go for import substitution production. But of course, you must quickly improve your efficiency. Other than that, soon you will be not efficient enough and others will undercut you. Therefore, aspire to be an entrepreneur. It will enable you to convert what makes you annoyed into business opportunities, to convert what you delight in, your passions, into business, so that your delights and dreams become money-making ventures. And once successful, the financial gains could be enormous. The last time, the 2 sessions before, I said that yes, but if 1 in 5 fail, what are my chances? The question is that almost all entrepreneurs learn from their mistakes and then restart again. And as Edison would say, every failure teaches me one thing I should not do again. And when you start small and you learn by doing, even if you fail, the cost will be less. And if you acquire knowledge in the area you want to operate, you will find that you reduce the chances of failure to as low as 50%. I think that entrepreneurship offers the gateway to real personal family independence. Yes, as I know, given our bad political atmosphere, some of our politicians target businesses of people who they think are on the other side, whether it's MPP or an NDC, which is one of the shame and the burdens of Ghana. It's almost like a curse. However, if you are real in business, not dependent upon government and connections, your business will survive regime to regime. Yesterday, I happened to pass by my good friend's company, Camelot, in publishing and printing, and passing by those 2 areas, says that God bless you, for it had survived regime after regime. Why? Because my lady friend is in genuine business and not waiting to have a quick returns because it's NDC or MPP in power. I believe that the freedom that entrepreneurship offers, away from 8 to 5 p.m. work alone, makes it worthwhile. Real entrepreneurs are happy people because they are satisfying their passion, their desire. Risks notwithstanding, if you prepare yourself, as we will be doing in the subsequent series, the rate of failure can be very low, and you will benefit greatly, you and your family. Let me say that though, as a teacher of entrepreneurship, we tend to emphasize creativity, innovation, and the rest, I earlier shared that 80% of entrepreneurs start as workers, discover niches to fill, and ways to do things better, faster, and cheaper. So wherever you are, you can start today. As if I have not excited you enough, let me say that it's time to rekindle your entrepreneurial spirit if you are one of those who have tried and failed. And if you haven't started, it's time to strike the march of entering into business. Let me quickly give you 7 reasons why you must today rekindle the spirit of entrepreneurship in you. First of all, like leadership, entrepreneurship is an art to be learned. You can learn it. It's not a matter you are born. Let me tell you, there are some people traditionally, some groups of people and tribes noted for entrepreneurship. Kwawus, the Igbos, the Jews. But it is not generic. They teach their children, they involve them from early, and therefore you can also learn to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to be a Kou or Igbo, and before you go into entrepreneurship, we have the good fortune at Ashesi University that at least 10% of our students, their first job is to start their own business. And it is not a school for any one tribe. We just teach our people how to start business and employ others. Anyway, for the many unemployed, probably you have no choice because the rate of unemployment is such that, and I see some people, whether it is YEA Youth Employment Agency or other things, then they are standing by the street and getting about 700 or so. Please, even if you sell kelewele or bananas, you can get that one in a day. Get out of your mind that somebody must employ you before you can survive. For many unemployed, small-scale enterprises is your way out. Of course, I'm not going to answer it. Some people here, where do I get the money from? You don't need a fortune to start, but that is going to be a major session, financing your business, especially first-time starters. In all this, the most important thing is your attitude. I like young people when they say that, your attitude will measure your altitude. Once you catch the bug, the sky is the limit. Therefore, as a nation and as teachers, as parents, let us aim at creating an entrepreneurial culture through education, training, giving children and younger people an opportunity to experiment with entrepreneurship as early as possible in their lives. For the good news is that you can train and motivate people to become entrepreneurs. Excuse me. Therefore, let us look at how we will kindle the business spirit in you. And all that I've been saying is to change your mind, for attitude is almost everything. It accounts for at least 60% of your success, skills, maybe 25%, and then specific area knowledge, possibly 15%. It's amazing that all of us have a latent entrepreneurial potential. But much of our education is just orienting people to look for a job. My friend Kama, Mark Ejekum of blessed memory, says that the brain has two sides. One that deals with language, logic, evaluation, reasoning, analysis, calculations, arguments, and the rest, which is, of course, the typical arena of the academy. That's what we professors try to instill in children. And he says that is only one side, is the right side. It's time for us to awaken the left side, which we don't, where there's music, color, imagination, humor, creativity, innovation. These are the other side. So many of us, according to him, I'm not an expert in this area, but I like his nomenclature and classifications, use one side of our brain. And of course, when we are paid small, we wonder why. Let us rekindle the other side: music, color, imagination, humor, creativity, innovation, and we will not stifle entrepreneurship. Yes, our education has not done as much good, but I like the story of Abraham Lincoln. How true it is, I cannot vouch for it, but I like it anyway. Understand that he needed to employ somebody in his office. About 40-year-old person came for the interview, and they interviewed him. And when the person left, the aides asked, "Yes, Mr. President, qualifications and everything is, I think that he's a good person." Then Abraham Lincoln is reported to have said, "No, I don't like his face." Then the other said, "What? Mr. President, that is the basis." Yes. He says everybody who is 40 years is responsible for their face. At least he could have smiled. Yes, but you come and sit there like an Egyptian mummy. "I don't like his face and I'm not going to employ him." Please, put on an entrepreneurial face. Start asking, as we say in my language, say the small child who will one day buy a car, when he's passing by the gas station, says, "Hey, how much is a gallon of petrol?" Of course, he has not even a pesewa to buy a liter. Please awake. Because once you get yourself up, there will be obstacles, but the obstacles are surmountable. I'm not saying that, you just wake up and that's, of course, from next session, we are going to now go through the steps of really establishing your business. But the motivation is so important to me that if you see it, I've almost spent about 3 sessions on it. Once people are excited, once they have the "I can do" spirit, once they say, "Yes, we can," then you can talk to them about what do you do next, which areas do you invest, how do you get the money, and the rest. And that is what. So today is going to end the motivational session. And if you cannot be motivated after all these things, there's nothing I can do, because you cannot pour water on stone and make it soft. I hope that is not about you. For example, if you want to go to an area, lack of knowledge. Do you know that most areas you can learn for entrepreneurial purposes in a month? I went to the area of banking. Of course, I studied money and banking some 50 years ago at the university, but I never practiced as a banker. But I saw opportunity of investing in rural banks. I studied them, and now I am a big player in the rural bank sector. Of late, I've decided to go into the real estate, and I'm learning with excitement, in the same way as I'm learning how to play drums in my 76th year. You can. Please, don't give up on yourself. So the knowledge you will need in any particular area, it's so often simple that you can. And then the skills. There will be entry challenges. Yes, people are already in it. But hey, so how many of the people who were in businesses in 200 years ago are still in businesses? Others have overtaken them. So long as you will learn how to do something faster, better, and cheaper, even in an existing area where there are many prayers, you can succeed. We thank God my wife and I decided to go into basic education and secondary education, having spent a lot of time in the university education. By God's grace, we went there, did it better, relatively cheaper than our comparators, and now we have students more than we can admit. It is possible, and we can change our story. So don't be afraid of competition, neither even finances, because when I come to the finances, I will show you that money has never been an obstacle to real entrepreneurs. Let me conclude my final motivational one on this. Why is it imperative for us to encourage you to be in business if you are so inclined? This is because entrepreneurship has to do with the assembly of ideas, capital, human and technological and other resources to set up entities, productive entities, or that produces goods and services, and to make profit, to meet social needs by doing things better, faster, cheaper, and often that through creativity and innovation. And that is what we need to propel ourselves from a lower middle income country, which sometimes I wonder whether we are not slipping back into the third world country status, to an industrialized country. We need people who have the passion to assemble ideas, capital, human resources, and technological resources to transform their world into business products and services. And those who are thus motivated and willing to bear the risk to achieve their goals are what I'm talking as entrepreneurs. And I'm trusting that they will come in all sizes. For the watches seller is a business person, as well as Zoom Lion or Jata, that's Mahama or Tobinko. They actually all started small, and now they are giant and big players. I trust that I have motivated you to aspire to be an entrepreneur, and that you will have your vision enlarged, motivated, seek an area where you want to, and we will be looking at the financial marketing, idea generation, and what you need to become a successful entrepreneur in the following sessions. Shalom, and may the Lord be with you, and join me on this road of entrepreneurship, not theory, but now we are going to look at the nitty-gritty of starting your own business where you are and now. This is your friend and brother, Emeritus Professor Stephen Adei, saying goodbye for another session. Don't forget and meet me every Saturday morning at 8 o'clock on ZFM 101.9. If you miss me, please check me out on YouTube. Just type in Professor Emeritus Stephen Adei, and you will be having a ball with all of us when it comes to wealth creation and starting your business, because entrepreneurs are bred, not born. Thank you.